Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the #1 wrestling program in America, Mid-South Wrestling. My name is Jim Ross. For the next 60 minutes, Joel Watts and I will be calling all the action. Joel, we have a great program lined up for everyone here today.
No doubt about it. We've got a lot of great matches. We've got Dr. Death against the Italian Stallion Gary Cordinelli, and Buddy Landell and Hacksaw Butch Reed against...
Let me tell you something. You all just talking on and on and on. Let's talk about the champion. Speak about me.
Well, I think that's very appropriate right now. Ernie Ladd, the new North American heavyweight champion, won that in very controversial fashion, I might add, here last week.
Look, let me tell you something, Mr. TV announcer. I know nothing about a controversial situation. All I know is when you go in the ring and win a match in the ring, you've won the match. I won me a championship in the ring. I told everybody I'm one of the smartest wrestlers. There's no doubt about it. Magnum TA is a younger man. He's probably a stronger man, but I'm an older man. I'm a smart man. You can say I'm the old man of wrestling. And what did I do? I went right in the ring and I proved it. I went fair and square on an unassisted victory is what I call it. Now, whatever you call it, Mr. TV announcer, don't even bother me about it because I'm getting tired of you too.
Well, I wouldn't even think about bothering you, Ernie Ladd, at 6'9", over 300 pounds. But the way you won the championship, the folks could see exactly what happened. And as a matter of fact, at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, let's show exactly what happened here last week when Ernie Ladd won the championship. You'll see it for yourself right now.
Coveted North American title at stake. What an elbow. Magnum TA elbowed the big cat. It staggered him. TA came off those cables with a tremendous amount of momentum, and he leveled Ernie Ladd, probably one of the hardest times he's been hit. Wow, look at the strength of Magnum TA, the young champion. Hours in the gym to be able to pick up Ernie. And Magnum, I hope he's not going to make the same mistake as Brickhouse because it's a high-risk move, but I know the feeling. He feels he needs a knockout punch to put Ladd down. Drop kick, Magnum connected. Ladd's down, but the referee's down. TA connected. He's really landed to Ernie Ladd. TA's got him, but the referee's not there to count. TA would have the fall right now.
Nobody to count, Bill.
The referee has not got, now TA's holding him. Just that brief moment allowed Ladd to be able to survive that pinning hold. TA up on the attack. Wow, Carl Fergie's obliterated. Ladd's going to his tights. Going to his tights. He's gotten a rope, a string, or something out of his tights. He's putting the garrote around TA's neck. He's strangling TA. He is strangling TA. Ronnie West there seeing about Carl Fergie. I don't think he's aware of the fact that Ernie Ladd has something strangling TA. TA going unconscious. The big cat Ernie Ladd, the wily veteran. There you see it. Ladd has strangled Magnum TA unconscious. I don't think the officials are aware of what's happened. If they sense that Magnum TA is unconscious, they're counting. Ernie Ladd's picking TA up. Why is he doing that? Ladd's trying to fool the referee. Ladd is trying to fool the referee. He's making the referee think that Magnum TA is conscious and still trying to win the match. Magnum TA is totally unconscious. Ernie Ladd is using this subterfuge so the referee wouldn't come in and stop the bout. He's trying to make him think that he's beaten Magnum TA fair and square. 1, 2, 3. The referee has just counted Magnum TA down. Ernie Ladd's hand is raised in victory. Ernie Ladd, the new North American champion. Ernie Ladd, the new North American champion. Magnum TA is unconscious.
The referee unaware of what actually happened, and the tremendous strangle by Ernie Ladd gives him the victory and the North American heavyweight belt.
Ernie Ladd, I know you're an educated man at Grambling University, but controversial has to be the term in that match.
Look, I told you once, don't be talking all out the side of your neck. I won it the only way I know how. It's no question about it. When you get a certain age in life, you're supposed to have a certain amount of smarts. This is 27 pounds of pure gold and silver. And who is the possessor of it, Mr. TV announcer?
Well,
when I said 27 pounds of gold and silver, who is the champion?
Ernie Ladd is a North American champion, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up in just a little while, you're going to see Ted DiBiase against Master G. You'll also see Magnum TA, the former North American heavyweight champion, go against the missing link. Also, superstar Bill Dundee takes on exotic Adrian Street for the TV title. Mr. Ladd, thank you for your comments.
It's always great to have your champion on this show to add class. I am known as class personified, and this means a lot of money and a lot of friends, and don't you forget it.
Fine. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, last week here, if you were with us, and I certainly hope that you were, Joel, one of the most just tremendous incidents I've ever seen. Hacksaw Jim Duggan in this thing in the parking lot with Ted DiBiase. You know, DiBiase and Akbar, they're saying that Hacksaw Jim Duggan got drunk and walked out in front of a car. Well, that's their story, ladies and gentlemen. Here is what Hacksaw Jim Duggan had to say when Cowboy Bill Watts was talking with him right after he came back. Let's see that now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we generally don't want to make an interview like this, but Duggan, they're trying to get him to go to the hospital, but he's insisted he has something he wants to say, and then they're going to take him straight to the hospital. You look like you've been hit by a Mack truck.
I don't know. I bent over, get my bag out of the trunk. I don't know who it was, 3 or 4 guys grab a hold of me. I'm doing okay. I'm holding my own. Then boom, I get it from behind, a slapjack or something. The only guy, they hold on to me. I look up, and the son of a... only face I can make out of the group is Ted DiBiase. They held me, and DiBiase took it to me with a slapjack. But I made it here. He said I couldn't make it here. He left me laying in the mud. But I told you people, I told you I'd come back. I'd come here and I'd stand up for Dr. Death. I'd stand up for what he did to them other people. But DiBiase did his best to stop me. But it didn't work. I'm here, and I'll go on.
Well, Jim, I think you feel the same as I do. Hacksaw Jim Duggan is probably one of the toughest men I've ever seen in all my life. I walked out there and found him on the ground. I couldn't believe it. It was just unbelievable.
It's almost more than words could explain one thing about it. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, he's a fighter. He's a great champion, and I know he'll be back. And right now, let's go to the ring. Ring announcer Boyd Pearson, our first exciting match.
This event, one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, 276 pound, the man with the helmet from Oklahoma University, Dr. Death Steve Williams. And across the ring, Charlotte, North Carolina, 250 pounds, the Italian stallion, Gary Cortinelli. Your referee, Carl Fergie.
There you see the Italian stallion, Gary Cortinelli, going against in single competition here, Steve Dr. Death Williams. And Joel, we both know Steve Dr. Death Williams very well from our Oklahoma ties. He is rapidly becoming a real superstar in wrestling. And I tell you, he is embroiled in this controversy with Hacksaw Duggan, but he can't take this man lightly. They call him the Italian stallion, 250 pounds, Gary Cortinelli.
Well, there's no doubt about it, Jim. Gary Cortinelli is obviously a fine athlete. He's a very powerful man, very quick, has a good knowledge of the basic background of wrestling. Of course, so does Steve Dr. Death Williams, four-time All-American at OU. And with the aid of that Dr. Death Award, he is obviously capable of taking on the... You can hear him shouting, "Where's Duggan?"
Well, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, we do not know the exact extent of his injuries. Dr. Death, that right hand, he blocked the Italian Stallion's maneuver, and that big, powerful right hand.
Well, of course, we don't approve of Dr. Death's tactics in any way.
Oh, Duggan! Where are you, Duggan?
But he gets the job done.
And a 2 count by referee Carl Fergie. Dr. Death pulled his opponent up.
Bear hug.
Dr. Death is very strong. Spent a lot of time in that OU weight room. Cortinelli's fighting back. Hip toss. Cortinelli reversed it. Got Dr. Death with a hip toss.
There he goes for that flying body press, but Dr. Death, with all that strength and all that power, caught him in the middle of a flying body press, 250 pounds, at Oklahoma Stampede. 1, 2, 3, and that'll be all for the Italian stallion, Gary Cortinelli, as Dr. Death, a very...
Dr. Death the winner, and we'll be back after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
This event, one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the blue corner, from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, 244 pounds, Thomas Ivy.
I've got 2 messages to relate before I introduce this man. First, to Skandor Akbar. I know what you want because I have it. So don't be getting Buddy Landell to do your dirty work for you. Come and talk to me personally. To the Rock and Roll Express. You made fools out of yourselves on national TV with a little help from us. Now I know why they put crazy people in straitjackets. But I'm telling you one thing. Regardless of whether we made a mongoloid idiot out of Robert Gibson or not, get some stipulations, and you've got a title match. Anything you want for $25,000 if you're not too embarrassed or scared. And now, it's time for this man to go to school. Here's the professor, 268 pounds of unleashed fury, Hercules Hernandez.
One fall or 10-minute time limit.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this match, Thomas Ivy against powerful Hercules Hernandez. You heard the comments of Jim Cornette, as we did. Very pointed comments, I might add.
Well, they were pointed comments. However, it's kind of hard to discern just exactly what Skandor Akbar is after. Whether it's a person, an object, whether he wants to team up with Cornette. It's hard to figure out, but right now, it's very plain to see as you've got an awesome athlete in the ring in the form of Hercules Hernandez. Hercules Unchained. Probably one of the greatest athletes ever to come in Mid-South. Extremely powerful, so agile, he's quick on his feet. Can't say that I've seen Tom Ivy in action too many times. I've seen him wrestle twice.
Cross his eyes. I want his eyes crossed.
Very stout man, certainly capable.
Joe, you can hear Cornette there at ringside, shouting encouragement and instructions. Hercules Hernandez wrapping those huge arms around Thomas Ivy. Hernandez, a man that has bench press and does it regularly, over 500 pounds. Ivy's fighting back though, Joel.
And you know, Jim, a 500-pound bench press is really awesome when you consider the weight of Hercules Hernandez.
Oh! Right across the steel cable goes Thomas Ivy.
And you could see the full weight of Thomas Ivy. He's going into that Shinno Namaki. He's got that Shinno Namaki.
He's got it locked. He's got it locked, and the referee signals. There you see the winner of the match, Hercules Hernandez with that Shinno Namaki. Ivy's unconscious. They need to wake this man up.
You noticed how Pee Wee Anderson began to count after the Shinno Namaki was applied. If you continue to apply a hold for too long, after the man has submitted or gone unconscious, it is a disqualification for the man who is applying the hold.
That's a good point, Joel. And ladies and gentlemen, the winner, Hercules Hernandez. And when we return, we're going to hear some special comments from General Skandor Akbar and the Nature Boy right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, as you heard just a few moments ago, Jim Cornette made a very pointed comment to General Skandar Akbar that he would like for Akbar to do the negotiating with him for what Akbar wants, according to Cornette, and not to send Buddy Landel to do the negotiating. Well, earlier today, Boyd Pierce had some comments with General Skandar Akbar and the Nature Boy Buddy Landel. I think you'll find them very interesting. Let's hear those comments at this time.
Wrestling fans, we have in the ring now with us the all-rich Skandar Akbar and California Nature Boy Buddy Landel, and they say they have a very important message.
First of all, Landel, where are the results that you promised me? I want you to remember who you're dealing with, the man, the general. I expect results, and I expect you to honor your commitment, young man.
Mr. Akbar, I'd just like to say that, you know, some of my friends say that Arab money is, you know, some of that oil money is blood money. Now, don't get me wrong, I would never say that, and I personally would never hold anything derogatory towards you or your country. But, you know, you have paid me a considerable amount of cash, and that's all right and all that. But, you know, where I come from, stuff up front talks, and I would, you know, a little bit more incentive what I need. I need a little bit more incentive, if you know what I'm talking about, to produce.
Understand what you're talking about, Landel.
I thought you would. Grease the palm if you know what I'm
Americans
talking.
are the same. I know you understand what solid gold Rolex watch valued at 10 to 12,000 American dollars, which means nothing to me, but it is yours on one condition. You deliver, and I want results next week, understood?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's right. Mr. Akbar, you have just given me an incentive to do what we have agreed to do upon. Thank you very
One more
much.
thing. It's quite evident in the Mid-South that the general, the boss man, is back. Ted DiBiase is back. The Rat Pack is back. And if there's any doubts in your minds, you can ask Hacksaw Duggan.
And now we'll go back to the desk with Joel Watts and Jim Ross.
Well, Joel, apparently, Buddy Landel has got the inducement perhaps that he needs to deliver what Skandar Akbar wants. So, you know, it further complicates the matter, ladies and gentlemen. Akbar and Landel have the alliance. Apparently, Landel now has the inducements that he needs, and Akbar says next week you must deliver. Well, we'll see exactly what, hopefully that will happen next week. But at this point in time, let's go to our ring announcer, Boyd Pierce, and another exciting match.
Your next event, a tag team match, one fall or 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, the team, 232 pounds from Los Angeles, California, Nature Boy Buddy Landel. His team partner, Kansas City, at 260 pounds, Hacksaw Butch Reed. Across the ring, 202 pounds, Birmingham, Alabama, Mike Jackson. At 251 pounds, Atlanta, Georgia, Steve Brinson. Your referee, Ron West.
Tag team action here, ladies and gentlemen, on Mid-South. And we are waiting for the ring to clear and watch for Ron West's signal to ring the bell. There he is. That calls for action, this tag team match. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do, don't go away because we've got some super matches coming up. Next, you're going to see Master G against Ted DiBiase, Magnum TA against the Missing Link. And Joel, we've got a match for the Mid-South Television Championship coming up also in this hour.
And yes, it's a barn burner in the ring already. Quick, Mike Jackson.
Mike Jackson so very, very quick, and at 202 pounds, ladies and gentlemen, it's quite obvious that this young man from Birmingham, Alabama has to use his tremendous quickness and speed. He's got it. He's got speed and quickness and experience. He's in there now with the arrogant Nature Boy Buddy Landel, whose pockets are full of money. He's got that Rolex watch from the general.
Well, General Skandar Akbar referred to him as possibly the most big hip toss. Akbar referred to Landel as possibly the most underrated wrestler in Mid-South. I don't know, he could be right. Landel is certainly an awesome athlete, and he does talk a little bit more than what he can back up.
Well, Akbar's a great judge of talent. However, this impressive youngster, Steve Brinson, has a side headlock, and he's got it firmly wrapped around the head of the Nature Boy. Landel throws him off, football tackle. Nice takeover by Steve Brinson. This is a very impressive youngster, ladies and gentlemen. The tag was made.
Steve Brinson has come along quite a bit since we've seen his introduction here in Mid-South. He could possibly become a big star someday. Mike Jackson, he faked him with that flying body press. Caught him with an arm drag takedown. Very unorthodox version of it, but effective nonetheless. Landell going for a body slam. Mike Jackson trying to pull Landell out of the ropes, but he couldn't quite budge.
Landell looks somewhat frustrated, ladies and gentlemen. Now he's conferring with his confidant, Hacksaw Butch Reed, the man that Landell says he's developed into a superstar.
Well, they've been associated with one another for quite some time. Landell, of course, I don't think has quite as much influence on Butch as he thinks he does.
Reed with that knee deep into the solar plexus. Referee Ron West, one of the finest in the profession over there. Landell and Reed, Joel, we've seen it many times. They're great athletes, but they will take severe shortcuts. High elevation. Jackson in the lights, and now Landell tagging in Reed. It's the first time we'll have to see Reed in this match.
Well, now that Reed's in there, Jackson may be counting the lights pretty soon, because that Reed is just one double tough, as we all know, athlete. And brother, he will hurt you.
I've said many times, perhaps he is the greatest athlete in all of wrestling. And Jackson, the experience, he got that foot over the bottom rope. The tag was made, in comes the Nature Boy. Landell taking over on a beaten down somewhat Mike Jackson. Landell went for the knee, Joel, and Jackson moved out of the way. Here comes Brinson.
Brinson now in there going to work on Buddy Landell, but Landell makes the tag.
Well, Brinson was taking over seriously on Landell, and Landell was very quick to make the tag. Look at Reed. What a maneuver. 260 pounds, belly to back suplex. He is an awesome machine. Landell was getting nailed there pretty good by, look at this.
Gorilla slam, he's setting up for that gorilla slam.
Look at Landell. Look at Landell wanting to tag him. Reed had him finished. Landell won the tag. You talk about arrogance.
Landell with that big elbow. I think.
Well, to put things in their exact perspective, Reed gorilla slammed him. Brinson, for all practical intent and purposes, was through. Listen to Landell. See what I did. Landell, the opportunist, the victory. Buddy Landell and Hacksaw Butch Reed. And ladies and gentlemen, when we return, you'll see Master G against Ted DiBiase after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
Your next bout, in the red corner at 264 pounds, from Omaha, Nebraska, presented by General Skandor Akbar, Ted DiBiase. And now, Master G.
Further indication of why Mid-South Wrestling is the #1 wrestling program in America. Two top main event athletes going head-to-head right here on television. Master G against Ted DiBiase. And to say that Ted DiBiase is embroiled in controversy with Akbar in this Dugan situation perhaps will be the understatement of the decade, Joel.
No doubt about it. But of course, going on right here, we've got the Master Lock against the Figure 4 Lead Lock, which Ted DiBiase is so famous for.
Well, Master G with his master lock put Butch Reed in the hospital. Required
Speaking
certain
of
look at
Butch
there.
Reed, there he is outside of Akbar. I certainly hope. Hacksaw Reed cheering on Ted DiBiase. I'm sure Reed's got a score to settle with Master G after G put him in the hospital. And you know, Reed, even though he had been put in the hospital, was having some troubles with that knee long before G put that leg lock on him. So it'll be interesting to see now that Reed's at full speed what he can do against Master G. Master G is an awesome athlete, and you can't underestimate him one bit.
And Ted DiBiase, a top 5 grappler in the world, right here on Mid-South. This is a classic matchup, ladies and gentlemen, and you're seeing it on Mid-South Wrestling. This tremendous contest, high elevation. And DiBiase's leaving the ring for the sanctuary of the floor. Get away from Master G, perhaps a bit of respite.
And you can hear the people calling Dugan, Dugan. They want to see Dugan get some revenge on Ted DiBiase. I certainly don't think that there's any way that Ted DiBiase could have beaten Hacksaw Duggan in the way that he had said when he came in with that clean suit on.
Well, Hacksaw Butch Reed was yelling his encouragement, but it hasn't helped DiBiase. DiBiase reverses it, and G gets out. And DiBiase, the tactician, the methodical grappler that he is, talking with the wily Skandar Akbar. This packed house, and I do mean packed house at the Irish O'Neill Boys Club. They're firmly behind Master G.
Come on, baby.
You can hear Hacksaw Butch Reed on the outside coaching Ted DiBiase.
DiBiase played football at West Texas State. You can see those football blocks. He's trying to get him up for the power driver. And G powers out.
Well, I just don't think that DiBiase had G worn down. A big drop kick there. Another big drop kick sends Ted DiBiase to the canvas. Arm whip into the ropes. And high elevation.
Master G on the offensive against Ted DiBiase. DiBiase trying to weaken that leg.
There he goes. He's setting up for that figure 4 leg lock, the one that made him so famous. Master G kicks out, and over the top rope goes Ted DiBiase.
Well, Reed and Akbar want Master G disqualified, and G's going outside. Oh! Master G just nailed Hacksaw Reed. That'll quieten Reed down, but
what's DiBiase doing? DiBiase looks like he's loading up that glove. DiBiase
did it, Joel. He loaded that glove up.
I don't think he could have kept Master G down that long with just one punch. He had to have loaded it up. And now he's got that figure 4 on him. Carl Fergie.
Well, Master G's unconscious. DiBiase's trying to break his leg. DiBiase's trying to break his leg. The man's helpless.
Master G is helpless. He's unconscious, and he's got that leg lock on. And Carl Fergie's counting now. Carlos Fergie, it's a disqualification. It's a disqualification. Ted DiBiase disqualified. Master G the winner. But of course, he's winning the battle, but he's losing in the war in that he could have suffered a broken leg already.
Here comes Magnum TA. Superstar Bill Dundee and Brickhouse, and DiBiase left. He tried to break Master G's leg.
If he didn't already.
The winner of the match by disqualification is Master G. And ladies and gentlemen, when we return, you'll see Magnum TA against the Missing Link right after this.
This match, 1 fall or 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, General Skandor Akbar proudly presents at 250 pounds the Missing Link. Across the ring, 242 pounds, Virginia Beach, Virginia, Popular Magnum TA.
Magnum TA going against that man, the Missing Link. There you see General Skandor Akbar. I don't know if he's the advisor, counselor, whatever he is to the Missing Link. Referee Pee Wee Anderson calls for the bell. And Magnum TA, until last week with the North American champion, held the championship for quite some time, Joel. And contrary to what Ernie Ladd said, I certainly don't want to get any confrontation with him, quite obviously, but Ernie Ladd won the championship in highly controversial fashion.
Exactly, Jim. I think it was very disheartening to TA, but the great athlete, the great stature of man that he is, I'm sure he'll come back.
You know, Mid-South's policy not to reverse decisions via, look at this. You could hear his head against those wooden stairs.
Well, Akbar says that it's medically proven that Link has the hardest head in wrestling. I don't know what a hard head can do against the powerful drop kicks of Magnum TA.
That headbutt, Magnum TA was set for his maneuver that elevate the Link. Oh, Link in that kidney area. Well, that head using it as a battering ram.
Well, Link obviously doesn't have too much of a brain behind there, because he certainly batters it to death with that head.
Link off the second rope. Magnum TA, ladies and gentlemen, is in deep trouble. I was going to say, Mid-South will not use the videotape replays to reverse decisions like we've seen in pro football or the Olympics. But Magnum TA.
Big shoulder.
And he's fired up. Powerful right hand, drop kick. Magnum TA with a thunderous knee lift. Look.
Akbar's on the apron. Akbar's up on the apron.
The Link head by Akbar. Belly to belly.
Listen to that crowd. Listen to that crowd as Magnum TA the winner over the Missing Link. What a match.
Magnum TA victorious, and ladies and gentlemen, when we return, the match for the Mid-South Television Championship, it'll be superstar Bill Dundee against exotic Adrian Street right after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
This event, 1 fall or television time remaining, as the music brings to the ring the Mid-South Television Champion at 212 pounds from the Royal Forest of Dean, exotic Adrian Street. And across the ring, the challenger for the Mid-South Television title, 205 pounds from Melbourne, Australia, the world-renowned superstar Bill Dundee. The referee, Ron West.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, another classic matchup. This one for the Mid-South Television title. The champion, exotic Adrian Street from the Royal Forest of Dean, of course accompanied by his valet, Miss Linda, will be defending the title against that tough little Aussie, 205-pounder from Melbourne, Australia, superstar Bill Dundee.
Well, you know, Jim, there's got to be another exciting one here. You know, I don't think there's another wrestling program in the country that had put on 3 main events like the ones you'll see here on Mid-South Wrestling. And you know, I think the real wrestling fans around the country know exactly what I'm talking about if they've watched cable television of any kind. There's just so many programs that have so many just boring mismatches.
Well, this certainly will not be a mismatch, ladies and gentlemen. Exotic Adrian Street against a tough man. He says he's been fighting for his size, the little man, all his life. Exotic Adrian Street, and Dundee will fight you. I'll guarantee you he will fight you.
Well, Adrian Street, of course, definitely no pushover. He's earned a lot of respect around here for his wrestling abilities, certainly not for his tactics.
The fan responding to superstar Bill Dundee. Dundee with that single leg pickup. And I would say that Mr. Street is in a very precarious position.
I don't think you could have said it any better. And into the turnbuckle goes Adrian Street as Dundee applied that double leg lock and shot him in there.
Street with that unique way of removing himself from the maneuver of Dundee. Dundee now backing right back in the corner.
A few right crosses in the corner and that big European style forearm. And he has Dundee in a predicament now.
Well, I'm glad to see that Chief Referee Ron West is the third man in the ring in this encounter, a very important match.
Well, Ronnie is a quick man himself. And as a referee, you've got to be a quick man to keep up with these two. No doubt about it.
Nice takedown by Adrian Street using a leg.
He appears to be using that fishhook type maneuver in the cheek of Bill Dundee. And brother, you know that's got to be painful. You hear that finger snap all the way over here. Everything that Adrian Street does seems to just add pain and agony.
Flying elbow, down goes Dundee. Street for the pin. And Ronnie West right there on top of it. Ooh, short chopping right hand. Street with those short choppy right hands. And Dundee has felt it.
Dundee now coming off the ropes with a big right hand, trying to swing that momentum in his direction. And I think he's got Adrian Street where he wants him. And he tosses him out of the ring and into that steel ring barricade.
He had him by the ponytail and just threw him right out the ring.
Well, he's fighting fire with fire.
Well, Dundee, clearly the aggressor at this point in time. Adrian Street quick back to his feet. Great maneuver, Ronnie West, Joel, right there on top of it.
You know, with that new third camera and its microphone, Mid-South is bringing you right into the ring. You see all this exciting action. I think it's one of the greatest things that's happened to Mid-South.
We talked about controversy. The way the Street won the title was controversial from Terry Taylor. Now watch, Dundee in those sharp rights.
And you said he was a fighter. Brother, there he proves it.
Oh, no. They kicked West. West was kicked right in the face. Ronnie went right on the floor. Dundee's got him beat. Look.
Miss Linda made the count and tapped Dundee on the shoulder, and she's spraying him with that perfume. And
she sprayed Dundee right in the face. He can't even see. Now Street took a cheap shot.
Street takes the cheap shot, and he's got Dundee wrapped up with all that wrestling ability of his.
Well, exotic Adrian Street. Yeah, what about that? Bill Dundee had the TV champion beat, Joel. Miss Linda with that perfume right to the face, Bill Dundee. Another tremendous match. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, we have seen some tremendous action. Now, before we review the card today, remember, please join us next week because you're going to see Hector and Chavo Guerrero, the Guerrero brothers, our great tag team combination. The Rock and Roll Express are going to be here. Joel, they've told me they've got a big, big announcement to make.
I'm sure they do.
And Skandar Akbar has scheduled a major press conference for next week, so be sure and join us for that. And, ladies and gentlemen, we've received word that Hacksaw Jim Duggan has promised to be here, Joel, next week in person.
Well, Jim Duggan, of course, one of the toughest wrestlers in the world. What a fighter. He's got a great heart after suffering an extreme beating. Of course, you know, probably administered by some type of foreign object. He said it was a slapjack of some kind, and and I'm sure he's just dying to get back here.
Well, we look forward to Jim Duggan coming back. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the Guerreros will be here. The big announcement from the Rock and Roll Express, the major press conference from General Skandar Akbar, and so much great action. For our ring announcer, Boyd Pierce, for Joel Watts, I'm Jim Ross saying thanks so very much for being with us on the #1 wrestling program in America, and we'll see you next week. So long, everybody.